Let's keep the chat going now. We're bringing CNN's Paula Newton from the Canadian Embassy in DC. Paula, good to see you this morning. So we saw Mark Carney say it's not for sale during part of that meeting, even though most folks don't think it ever would be. But was it awkward? Was the chat awkward today? Was it not? How would you describe it?
There were certainly moments where it was awkward, no question, especially with all the discussion about the 51st state. But look, if you're Canadian officials here, this is a win today. Certainly, there were points when the Prime Minister had to stick up for Canada and say, look, Canada is not for sale. And in being so forceful, I think they felt the Prime Minister got his message through, not just for anyone listening, but more importantly for the President himself. The President said, look, we're not going to talk about that today, even though he continually brings it up. I found what was fascinating here, though, and especially as you have obviously, the election just happened in Australia, and as you have Prime Minister Albanese, go into negotiations, in fact, with President Trump, he didn't hold any of that campaign rhetoric against Mark Carney. Think about it. Mark Carney, during this campaign, actually said they want to own us so they could break us. There were definitely different plays on those words. He didn't directly hit the President personally, but certainly had very strident language for what he was talking about in terms of the 51st state. Didn't seem like the President held it against him at all. In fact, seemed to respect him quite a bit in terms of showing strength and actually fighting Canada's corner. Now, Mark Carney did go out of his way also to compliment the President on being a transformational president, which is important, and also called him one of the best negotiators. That certainly laid the groundwork for what will come next on a substantive firm tone, though. Look, there's no lifting of tariffs after today's meeting. The discussions were good, but these negotiations will continue likely for months and months.
OK, that's Paula Newton from CNN. Thank you for your time, Paula.